Režiser na većini video spotova novog albuma Metallica 72 Seasons pridružuje nam se večeras, odnosno jutros iz Los Angelesa. Tim Saccenti. Tim, welcome to N1. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
It's such an honor, Tim. There is really so much to discuss when it comes to your work and creativity on 72 Seasons Metallica. First of all, I really want to know how it all started. How did the conversation begin between you and the band, having you on the new album?
Yeah, the band approached me with the idea that they wanted to go for something maybe a little different this time from their last records. So I work mainly maybe in the world of more electronic and fine art world, rather than maybe in the world of the type of music that they're usually associated with. So I think to them, my ideas, they wanted something to do with their concept of light for their album that they were thinking about. And this is a kind of medium that I'm working in a lot. So that was sort of the initial idea. And the first video we were going to do was this 170, the Lux Eterna, which we had some ideas about how to maybe show their world a little more abstractly than they had in the past, which and using maybe something that a little more contemporary and mysterious. And once we didn't really discuss too much. I showed them some ideas I had, and we went into the studio to make this piece. They were very trusting. I think that's how they are with their collaborators. And once we went into the studio and made Lux Eterna, we got to know each other, and it became very friendly. And the band seems like they're very dedicated to the people that they work with. Once they trust you and they feel like you can have a shorthand with them. You bring something, they bring their part, and it becomes more than the sum of its parts. So once we did this first video, we got along very well. They asked me and my team if we had more ideas, and it kind of built from there.
That is so exciting, because these are the guys that wrote Nothing Else Matters, that wrote Master of Puppets. These are the guys that used to be, with the collaborators. There always been some differences, but seeing that this hypnotic performance, and it is so different from what we've seen from Metallica so far. So what is behind the creative process? How did you come to the idea, hey, I want to make this electric, I want to make this hypnotic? What was the drive behind that?
Well, when I'm approaching the music, I'm thinking more about the sonic quality. You know, when you have Metallica, you think of them in a stadium with 50,000 people screaming and projecting themselves to this massive audience. And I wanted to do something maybe the opposite of that. So something that was more about the tension of the music and the sonic quality and the emotion for the individual person, the adrenaline and the excitement. And that's where the idea of this lasers, kind of a laser prison, came from. That's the lasers go to the music more than to the lyrics. They're going to Kirk's guitar and to the rhythm of the drums. All of this is almost a very like primal, minimal aspect that I was trying to get to. So almost, rather than it being very bombastic and over the top imagery, I wanted the more minimal version of what the Metallica sound does to you when you hear it. And that seems to be like crosses all of the language barriers and all of the meaning of the lyrics. And then on top of that, when you put these artists in front of the camera, everything is just going to come out of them. They're amazing. They're like, the second you put the camera on them, you feel like you understand why they are so important to people.
So you can understand why they are who they are today, 40 years on, right?
Exactly. When the camera is on them, everything comes out and everyone just stops. Their breath just stops when you see them perform. So I was trying to make a modern version of what this is, strip everything back just to light, sound, motion, and atmosphere.
How was it to work with James Hetfield, with Lars, with Kirk, Robert? How were your relationships with them on set? It seems to me that you guys had a lot of fun making this. I mean, there's obviously a lot of work involved, but also a lot of fun from what I can gather.
Yeah. Well, when you work on something with a band of this level, you don't meet them necessarily until they're on set. So you see on set, it's dark, it's smoky, there's lasers. If you look into the lasers, you will be blinded. So you have to be very careful. So it's a very like intense, short-term, very intense relationship. So, but what's amazing about this band, and you understand why they're still together for so long, is that each of them are like very strong characters in their own way, but very, very different. And when we shoot them, each one comes out individually. So it's just me and that person in front of the camera talking, and I get to speak to them and say, oh, okay, I think this person's like this. James is like, very like earthy. He's down to earth. When he's speaking, it's from the heart. He is just there to like maybe connect with the audience. He knows that's what he's there for. It's his words. And you have like kind of a respectful way of showing that, where you put the camera, what point you make sure that the light is on him or the light comes away. Make sure that my job is to make sure that the portraiture of them expresses each of their characters. So James is very kind of earthy. Kirk comes out and he is very spacey. He is very cosmic. He comes out, he's talking about like other dimensions. And so he's very interested in the lighting and the effects. And when we started to shoot Lux Eterna, he said, oh, this is like being in a laser volcano. He has something very kind of otherworldly to say. Robert is he's like a child. He's like a teenager. He comes out, he's jumping up and down. He's like just got off his skateboard. He's just like how you think him. And then Lars is obviously he is like the big picture. He understands everything. He's the backbone and the rhythm, and he doesn't have to say much. He just says, okay, let's do it. By the time you're in the room with them making something, you know that everyone has the mutual respect for each other. But then when they all come together, it's like more than the sum of its parts. The room just explodes with energy. We knew that we had Lux Eterna was already done. We had a very cool abstract video, but I was feeling like we didn't have there hasn't been a portraiture-based video which shows their personalities of the band. And I think they have often not hid behind it, but they build this wall of like mythology around them with different imagery. And as I was saying, the stadium separates them from the audience in some way. And so we wanted to try and make something that was more portraiture-based. So it's just each one of them and the camera. And that's actually sometimes very hard for artists of this level to do, because even though you imagine they're very comfortable with themselves, they are just like everyone else. They don't necessarily want to expose themselves or show their personality. They're like, it's easier for them to just play behind their guitar or their drums. So we took them into an environment which was like a rundown warehouse in Los Angeles, and basically just wanted to have the camera, atmosphere, not really many lighting tricks, and just try to bring out their personalities. And I think we did a very good job of that, using just in-camera effects, no special effects, just them working through the lyrics and coming up with interesting things that you could feel each of their personalities. We were using some techniques of the camera where we were moving the lenses around to try and give a blur effect. All of this is in the camera. It has to do with like the kinetic motion of like the energy of the song and the energy of the delivery of the lyrics. And as that is happening, the camera is moving, and with James as he is moving around, and it's creating these blur effects that really heighten the intensity of his performance. And obviously he was very much getting in touch with his like psycho side. So I think it worked for us. Yeah, Robert is a kid.
Yeah, oh my God. And he took
we didn't expect this, you don't know. My job is to bring that out in the artist, to come here and say like, what's inside of you? Let's make it come out. And it's a lot of the environment, the lighting and the camera, and just like your energy is what brings that out in front of the camera.
So in preparation to videography, in preparation to your ideas, how many team members do you have? Do you guys sit together? Do you read the lyrics? Do you discuss how you want to do that? How does that happen? How does that initial thing happen?
Yeah, for each video we write basically what's called a treatment, where we come up with a set of ideas that are for each section of the video. I sit with, at our Setta Studio, I have my creative partner, her name is Dina Chang, who also worked on this series of videos. We usually sit and listen to the song and then first abstractly come up with what does it feel like? Does it feel like a laser? Does it feel like smoke? Does it feel like a landscape? Does it feel like a portrait? Very basic. And then we pull all of the visual ideas for that from various references we have. Then we start looking at the lyrics to say, where do the things align? And then we decide which visual effect or feeling will go for each person. And then we try and come up with something that hasn't been done before and mix that into it. We do a lot of experimentation all the time behind the scenes. Like for Lux Eterna, the laser technique had not really been done before. It was a special technique that we came up with. For Screaming Suicide, the lens moving technique, and there was some machine learning, special effects, explosions and things that had not really been done before in a music video. Each of the videos that we made for the 72 seasons, for the most part, had some very cutting edge technology piece that we intersected with the sound of the music to come up with this visual interpretation of the sound. Then, so that takes about 3 or 4 people working, but we're just constantly making things all the time. And we present it to the band and say, do you like this technique, this technique? Does this one work? Sometimes we take the song and put it into our machines and start doing some techniques for it. Then we present those things to the band. They make their input, and we go back and modify it, and then we put the crew together to execute it, which is, say, on most of these videos, the crew is probably around 75 to 90 people, depending on what day we're shooting.
Oh, wow.
Then we take that material back, go to special effects, go to editing. That takes another 3 weeks or so, do the finishing touches, and then you get to enjoy it.
I want to tell you that fans around the world really love your work.
What I absolutely love about 72 Seasons is how diverse this album actually is, and how every song on this record is actually tied to this theme of fight, of light against darkness. Thus, a favorite track for a fan can change from a day to a day depending on their emotional stage at that period of time. And while for now I'm totally hooked on Too Far Gone, tomorrow I might change it to Sleepwalk My Life Away or any other track on this record. And the same of course goes for the music videos, which are designed to reflect the lyrics of each track. And I personally just cannot wait to see how the lighting and all of the effects which we saw in all of those music videos will be captured in Metallica's live performances on M72 tour.
This album is just a bunch of good songs that you can listen and bang your head to. Speaking of new visuals, they're really creative in a form that, first of all, they're yet being very simplistic. They're adding new original visuals to the picture, and most importantly, they're not distracting the viewer from the actual music. So I think playing the role of music videos, they are really amazing.
Namorada. This one is so cool. Thank you guys.
Deep inside, there are still those boys who kicked ass on the stage and still do. And the recent music videos capture that vibe perfectly. And these videos give an opportunity to a fan even from the most distant part of the world, who may never see the band on the stage in their flesh, to at least partially experience via the tiny screens of their phones the real live Metallica. So thank you for the music and for the videos.
Вітаю! Мене звати Марічка. Я з України. Мені дуже подобається гурт Metallica.
This album is absolutely crazy, and one of my favorite Metallica music videos looks like Turn Up, and Tim had amazing job with them. I love the lights, the concept. It's so solid, and Tim, you were amazing.
Hey, didn't see you there. Tim's music videos, I think that they were absolutely amazingly directed. I loved when the camera spins. That's one of my favorite shots of the entire thing.
You guys are awesome.
Did they get it right?
Amazing. No, they did get it right. The point of what we're trying to transmit is basically, you see, there's not a lot of narrative in these videos. There's not a lot of like extrapolation. It's mostly trying to make the band, capture the band, what their energy is like together, and make a frame around it that is visually interesting. And that's kind of what the fans are saying. Yeah, even sometimes we would have more narrative ideas and we strip them back, because really the band understands that what they're trying to show is their energy together and present themselves for, as some of these fans are saying, if you never got to see the band live, like maybe this is as close as you're going to get. That our job was to find the way to show them together in the most honest, interesting, visually magical way possible, but without it being so distracting that you're losing the band. And I think that according to these fans that maybe we did a good job of that. And we did try and use the theme of light and abstraction throughout, but not in a way that became so abstract that you lost the band in it. It's basically portraits of the band performing these amazing songs for their fans, and we're trying to create an environment for that. So I think we did it. I think that we communicated that.
And fans obviously really got it right on the head.
Yeah.
And it turns out
it's very nice to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more, and it turns out the 2023 version of Metallica is now a different beast entirely, and you are behind that, Tim. So if I may ask, what was your favorite part of this collaboration?
Every time you have an idea. We would go in the studio, we have an idea, and we start setting everything up, and we set the lights up, and we set the smoke, and there's all of this like anticipation, just like when you're going to a show and the lights go down, and then one band member comes up, and everyone starts going crazy. It's literally like that when we are shooting. Kirk would come out, we would shoot each member separately. So maybe Kirk would come out and the lights are down, and then the light would go up, and then he would start playing, and everyone would go, oh my God, this is amazing. It's just like that too when you were on set. So that every time we shot, it was like that. When the band all came together, these parts were just like transcendent. When they start playing off of each other, each time that was like a gift. And we go, okay, our job is pretty easy now.
They come out and this energy comes out of them. But
that part, and then I would say this band in particular has such an amazing fan base that once we would make something, often we make things for many bands or celebrities, and then we put it out, you never hear anything. It goes into like a void. So this band has such amazing fans, which is even why I want to do this interview. They have such amazing fans, and they give such positive feedback, and they really appreciate, I think, all of the work that it takes, because it takes many, many people, many, many months to make these things. And I think that's been the most rewarding part of this project, is the feedback from the fans and seeing that they're genuinely watching it and very genuinely excited about it. And so I want to say thank you to the fans.
Absolutely, but I want to share something with you as well. I mean, this is the part of my childhood, my life as well. During the war in the 90s, and in Sarajevo, when the city was besieged, when it was shelled every day for 4 years, people would go into the bunkers, go into the background, go find ways to listen to heavy metal, and this was a way to survive. We had Bruce Dickinson in '94 in Sarajevo, but Metallica was also part of this life that was survival. And you being part of this and seeing your name on that big screen in Sarajevo, that was just really amazing.
Well, that's amazing. Yeah, well, we understand also to what you're saying that this music is very personal, for a very emotional experience for many of the fans. And so you treat it with that amount of respect this has been there for people at certain points in their life that were maybe a struggle. And so you have to treat that environment and treat the music as kind of a sort of sacred piece like that. And hopefully we have given that kind of respect to it.
And you have. And I went to that listening party, and I saw how many Sarajevans came out, and even younger generations now. I see that the band has really this amazing energy that, you know, for different generations, just pulling people in. And it's amazing. And I'm telling you, this 2023 version of Metallica is completely different from what we've learned, what we know so far. And having you on the show is just really such a huge honor, you know, to know what's behind all that. And I want to thank you for that.
Of course, thank you.
So Tim, I want to thank you for all the information you shared with us. I want to thank you for doing an amazing job. I want to thank you for giving people something new, and to see this band in a new light, completely new light. I think that was, I think you've done such an amazing job. It's just crazy amazing. So thank you, Tim, for being on our show.
Thank you. It's been an honor.
Thank you, Tim. Bio ovo Tim Saccenti, on je većinu video spotova za Metallica 72 Seasons režirao, a mi idemo dalje da vidimo kako to sve izgleda iza scene.